So I'm watching one of the vlogs. Marcellus St. Jean, guy up in Canada. Kind of interesting guy. He's kind of a pothead, but he's cool. And he was talking about his wife's new phone, the Galaxy S6. And I had heard about the Samsung Galaxy S6 had a 4K camera, and one of the Apples does too, I believe. I'm not sure. I think one of the Apple phones has one of the high-end 4K cameras on it. But I looked at a review of the optics on these cameras, and on the cameras on the phones, and I'm like, it just cannot be that clear. You look at it online, and the problem is, of course you go online, it's been through 58 filters, digital filters, to get to that point, because YouTube shoots everything down. You can't put a true quality video on YouTube, because it's going to play with it to shrink it down, to put it on their servers. Hey, that's part of the service, right? You're not paying a lot of money for their system, so they're gonna optimize it for them. Well, that makes perfect sense. It's fine. But you got to remember, looking at a video on YouTube, you're not going to get a true picture of what's going on with your video camera. And I've read reviews of the optics are not very good for the phones. I mean, it's a phone, right? It's an all-purpose device. And it has this really nice video camera on it, but it's not worth the other $250 in my opinion. That's why I didn't go that route. And then you have a couple last year before, Microsoft came out with this like 40 megapixel still camera on one of their phones. I remember it had a lump on it. You lay the phone down, and it had this lump where the camera was, where it had this giant. And again, people are saying, yeah, it takes these really high resolution pictures, but you can see the flaws in the optics. And I'm looking at the DSLRs nowadays, and I remember the first DSLR, SLR stands for single lens reflex camera. So what happens is, you look through the viewfinder of an old film camera, and normally before the SLRs came out, you look through a viewfinder, and it was a whole nother mechanism beside the camera. So you had the viewfinder mechanism, and then you had the camera mechanism. So it's two different mechanisms you had to mess with to line up your shot. Well, an SLR, single lens reflex, it used a mirror that stayed down in front of the film, and it was a prism, and it reflected up into the eyepiece. So you were actually looking through the optics that you were going to use to take the picture with. It was awesome. Well, you don't need that anymore. I remember the first one I picked up, the first DSLR I picked up, and it made that noise, the click noise, and I was like, why are they doing that? Well, they're finally getting away from it. You're finally getting just straight digital cameras. They're calling them mirrorless now. It's a selling point. Well, we got a pretty cool looking sunrise happening over here. And of course, the orange is almost coming out on the video. But what we really got going on is the house across the street's getting built. And these guys are streaming trash all over the fucking neighborhood. You see all this? All this shit? It's from them. Yep, construction materials. Well, you know what? Lands on my fucking property, they get it back. It's returning their property. I don't know what to do about all this. I mean, they just don't give a shit what the neighborhood looks like. It's like 35 degrees out, and you got this frosty stuff on the ground. Nice morning. Got more construction going on across the street. You can't really see it because of the sun. Anyway, what we got going on here? We're trying not to get hit across the road. Well, you'd think they'd at least attempt to put the orange stuff, around the hole instead of in it, but no. I don't know what they're digging up. They must be connecting to the sewers. That's all I can think of. But yeah, they're not doing a real good job with safety, so looking bad.